India after independence. Next, India's population in 1947 was large, almost 345 million. It was also divided. Divided. There were divisions between high castes and low castes, between the majority Hindu community and Indians who participated other faiths. The citizens of this vast land spoke many different languages, wore many different kind of dress, ate different kinds of food, and practiced different professions. How could they be made to live together in one nation state? Next, to the problem of unity was added the problem of development and independence. The vast majority of Indians lived in the village. Farmers and peasants dependent on the monsoon for their survival. So did the non farm sector of the rural economy. For if the crops failed, harbor, carpenters, weavers, and other service groups would not get paid for their service either. In the cities, factory workers lived in crowded slums with little access to education or health care. Clearly, the new nation had to lift its masses out of poverty by increasing the productivity of agriculture and by promoting new job creating industries. Next, unity and development had to go hand in hand. If the divisions between different sections of India were not ahead, they could result in violent and costly conflict, high caste fighting with low caste, Hindus, the Muslim, and so on at the same time. If the fruits of economic development did not reach the broad mass of the population, it could create fresh divisions, for example, between the rich and the poor, between cities and the countryside, between regions of India that were prosperous and regions that lagged behind. Next, a constitution in written between December 1946 and November 1949. Some 300 Indians had a series of meetings on the country political future. The meetings of these constituent assembly were held in New Delhi, but the participants came from all over India and from different political parties. These discussions resulted in the forming of the Indian Constitution, which came into effect on 26 January 1950. Next, one feature of the Constitution was its adoption of universal adult franchise. All Indians above the age of 21 would be allowed to vote in state and national election. This was a revolutionary step, for never before had Indians been allowed to choose their own leaders. In other countries such as the United Kingdom and the United States, this right had been granted in states first only men of property had the vote. Then men who were educated were also added on. Working class men got the vote only after a long struggle. Finally, after a bitter struggle of their own, American and British women were granted the vote. On the other hand, soon after independence, India chose to grant this right to all its citizens regardless of gender, class, or education. Next, a second feature of the Constitution was that it guaranteed equality before the law to all citizens, regardless of their caste or religious. There were some Indians who wished that the political system of the new nation be based on Hindu ideals and that India itself be run as a Hindu state. Next, they pointed to the example of Pakistan, a country created, protect and further the interest of a particular religion's community, the Muslims. However, the Indian Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru was of the opinion that India could not and must not become a Hindu Pakistan. Besides Muslim, India also had large populations of Sikh and Christians as well as many Parsis and Jains. Under the new constitution, they would have the same rights as Hindus, the same opportunities when it came to seeking job in government or the private sector, the same rights before the law.